Does anybody actually find AOC to be a caring person? What's going on, everybody? So, I don't know if you guys follow AOC's Twitter account or AOC's vlogs or anything like that, but you know, whenever she does vlogs, she does something stupid. She tries to make it seem like she's the smartest person in the room when actually she's one of the dumbest. Just look at a track record for one most incompetent congresswoman on the Democrat side. No, apparently nobody on the Democrat side wants to take AOC's legislators seriously. She's one of the bottom. She's one of the top 10 at the bottom. That's how incompetent AOC is. So the reason I'm bringing this up right now is because apparently AOC has brought up her grandma living in Puerto Rico, living in a very bad environment, basically using her oppression and her suffering in order to get over it political wise. And let me just say, it doesn't really go well for AOC because first off, AOC, you are really trying to use your grandma as a means to get over in politics, because this whole thing that Puerto Rico needs to be considered a state or something like that. My thing is, AOC, ain't you worth like what, hundreds of thousands of dollars now at this point? You bought houses. You driving a Tesla, a energy car, green energy. You making all this money off of your vlogs and off of Congress, but you don't have the means to actually help out your grandma in Puerto Rico, who's apparently living in a busted down house. Why don't you send her where you at? Why don't you pay for a plane ticket? If you want to tell me it's because she wants to stay in the place she grew up in, then maybe you should actually pay for a place that's actually in great shape for your grandma. That's what I would do. That's what I would do for my mamas. That's what I would do for my mama, for my stepmom, or basically my mamas in general, because I was raised by a lesbian couple. So I would that's what I would do if I was making the amount of money AOC's making. But she's not doing that, and she wants you to take pity off of her grandma's oppression. But she's using her grandma's oppression. She's using her grandma's oppression in order to get one over on Republicans. So let's look at this post. Just over a week ago, my umbrella fell ill. I went to Puerto Rico to see her, my first time in a year because of COVID. This is her home. Hurricane Maria relief hasn't arrived. Trump blocked relief payments for PR. People are being forced to flee ancestral homes, and developers are taking it. She keeps going. We immediately got to work reaching out to community advocates and leaders and following the money. What's happening to Puerto Ricans is systematic. Much of it can be traced to La Junta, aka the Wall Street Connected Fiscal Control Board that the U.S. gave power to over the land. In the aftermath of Maria, the Trump administration oversaw two key items: handling money in public to unqualified donor pals, ex-white fish. What does that even mean? The other was to impose extremely difficult eligibility rules for Puerto Ricans, which allowed mass rejections of recovery fund applications. I want to be clear, while Trump administration had a major role, it wasn't just them. La Junta, local police, etc. were all on the same page, policies that push out local families. To turn this around, we need audits and get recovery relief to people ASAP without the newer strings. So that so now y'all want audits. And for the record, my umbrella is doing well. It's doing okay. It's not about us, but about what's happening to Puerto Ricans across the land. She had a place to go and be cared for. What about the thousands of people who don't? Again, you are using your grandma's oppression in order to get one over political wise. And you know, she got called out for this on the right, because why would you use your grandma as a political motive? That's some nasty ass shit, AOC. That's really freaking nasty, what you just did right there. You using your grandma as bait for a political motive? You going to hell. AOC. You should not use your grandma or any of your relatives or even to like get over one for a political agenda. You didn't even have to say anything either. You could just wrote a bill, brought it up in Congress, and see if Congress was going to pass it over or not. Apparently everything else you're doing is not working. Since you want to go green and all that stuff, and now look. You want the worst Congresswoman in right now. You want the worst Congresswoman right now. But this whole thing about you want us to take pity. We all know Puerto Rican is bad. But guess what? That's on the Puerto Rican leadership. That's not on Trump. That's not on any other of these politicians that runs the other states. That's on Puerto Rican leadership. Same thing that goes on in Hawaii. A lot of people don't really hear a lot of things going on in Hawaii right now. But apparently Hawaii is a lot of places that people want to go to because it's more of a tourist attraction. Same thing with Puerto Rico. There's a lot of nice places in Puerto Rico that your grandma can go to. You got the money for it. You can help. You can purchase it for her. Put her in a safer environment. Do that. Don't use her as political bait. That's some selfish ass shit. I don't see. This is why I don't get. This is why I don't get why AOC thinks she's the most holier than thou person. She's the biggest saint. When she lets her grandma live in that kind of environment, she could have brought her grandma overseas to her. She could help her live with her. Apparently, she lives in a very luxurious place in New York City. Her grandma could have been there for a while until she finds a permanent home for her grandma. But I don't know, man. She's getting called out by not that much people on the left, but she is getting called out by a lot of people on the right. I don't know. I really don't know, people. Hopefully her grandma is okay, and she not just doing this for a political motive. But don't go on social media and complain about it because you're using this as bait for showing for the right Republicans or pretty much anybody else, pretty much showing that, hey, why are you using your grandma for political bait? Because right now that's what it looks like. AOC, don't ever do this again. If you ever see this video, AOC, don't ever do this again. Let me guys know what you think in the comments below. If you like what I'm saying, like, comment, subscribe, share this video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.